What can we forgive? Tough part of the job. Tough part of walking down the street. So here I am. We are going to do a review of Se7en tonight. I believe it's 1995. Yeah, Se7en. It is on the poster, and it is qualifying in the book. But real quick, I just wanted to say I recorded, or excuse me, I watched Once Upon a Time in the West, which was on the poster, but not something that I'm going to review. Just wanted to say a couple of quick things about it because it was not quite what I expected. It was, in my opinion, way too long, way too slow. The pacing was not great, but what I loved about it was Charles Bronson. I'd never really paid attention or seen a movie with Charles Bronson, and this was a young Charles Bronson. What an amazing presence. And I get it. I get it now. I get the Charles Bronson thing now because he's such a deep, great voice, such a presence. Jason Robards, wow, I almost didn't recognize him. I mean, all that I know of Jason Robards, he's much older, Philadelphia, and anyway, I know him from older things, Magnolia, which is the quote I just did, not him, but from Magnolia. I know him as an older gentleman, and I was an older actor, so it was totally off guard seeing him in that. Henry Fonda is so good in that, and again, a younger Henry Fonda instead of, I know Henry Fonda as older. I can't believe that Once Upon a Time in the West is on this poster of 100, top-rated films, and Unforgiven is not. Like, Unforgiven is absolutely, in my opinion, the best Western ever made. Brilliant. And it's not on the poster, but Once Upon a Time in the West was, and that's just, I was shocked. Not saying that it was totally bad, because it really wasn't totally bad. It just was not. Anyway, okay, I'm not doing a review of that. I just wanted to say a couple of quick things about it. So, that being done, we are going to get into Se7en, 1995. Okay, so this is a qualifying one in the book, and it is on the poster. I already scratched it off. Oh my goodness, I'm not very good at this right there. I already scratched it off. It is on the poster. So let's get into the book. Challenge number 49, a film based around a religion. This is very much based around a religion. Movie title, Se7en, year released, 1995, aspect ratio 2.39:1, running time 2 hours and 7 minutes, genre, crime, drama, mystery is what IMDb says, rated R. Challenge, date challenge completed. I always forget this. I keep forgetting this. September 8th, which now, unfortunately, because it's after midnight, was 2 days ago. My rating, 5-star. Absolutely love this movie. Absolutely. Starring Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, Gwyneth Paltrow, R. Lee Ermey, and Kevin Spacey. All do, just a fantastic job in this movie. Just about everybody in this movie did a great job. Directed by David Fincher, produced by Arnold Kopelson, which I love his producing. There's a lot of movies I'm like, Arnold Kopelson. He's done some great movies, and I really appreciate his stuff. But it's produced by Arnold Kopelson and Phyllis Carlyle. I didn't want to skip over that. Written by Andrew Kevin Walker. I don't know who that is, but what a great writing credit. Se7en, such a great film. Music by Howard Shore. So I never would have known that this was Howard Shore, given that, like, the biggest thing I know Howard Shore from is the Lord of the Rings films. Never would have known that this was him. So I was a little shocked to see that. Awards received. So this didn't win any Academy Awards. I don't even think it was nominated. Was it nominated for any Academy? I think maybe it was not. It was nominated for one. Let me look. It was nominated for one Academy Award, Best Film Editing. Okay, wow. You know what? I am interested in what was nominated that year that it was not nominated. So we're looking at 1995, which in my brain, the first thing I think of is Pulp Fiction, right? Was that 95? I feel like Pulp Fiction was 95, but may not have been 95. Pulp Fiction, sorry, was 94. Okay, so 95. Coincidentally, is the first year I started keeping my ticket stubs, my movie stubs. Braveheart. Okay. Braveheart was the big movie that year, but some other things too. Usual Suspects. Interesting that Kevin Spacey was in The Usual Suspects, but he was also in Seven. I loved his performances in both. Obviously, Usual Suspects. He blows the competition out of the water, in my opinion. But anyway, so awards received, not Academy. MTV Movie Awards. Best Movie, it won Best Movie, and Most Desirable Male, obviously Brad Pitt, and Best Villain, Kevin Spacey. I remember, I don't know if you remember or not, I remember when they did the MTV Movie Awards and the end scene. Okay, a couple of disclaimers real quick before I get really into this. These are unedited and unfiltered. If your kids are in the room, you probably want to have them leave the room because I will say adult things here, and I will give spoilers away, but I will give you a list of movies underneath this review, a list of movies that I talk about, the ones I give spoilers for, the ones I just quote, and the ones that I simply just mention. So if you want to avoid spoilers, look at the ones that are under the spoilers category, and before I say big spoiler alerts on Seven. At the end scene, the whole end scene, okay, so what I was saying is, I remember when the MTV Movie Awards, when they did that montage of the whole end scene of the three of them in the when they drive out to like the middle of nowhere, and each character was being played by William Shatner. It was hilarious. He was all three characters, and he did that end scene. It was hilarious. I remember that. Why did you choose this particular film? Because I love it, and it's one of the movies on the poster. I wanted to get one on the book and the poster this time. Have you seen this movie before? Oh, yes. I own it. I've seen it countless times, but I did not see this in the theater. This was not something I saw in the theater. Would you recommend this film? Why or why not? That's a hard one. Again, so sometimes, much like the review I just did of Joker, this is a very serious topic. It's very dark. And so I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. If you can't, there are many people who are very religious who can't abide films that show people who take their religion to an extreme and in a very negative way. And this absolutely is a depiction of someone taking Christianity / Catholicism to the extreme negative. And so some people can't abide that topic on their religion. So of course I would not recommend this, and because of how dark and how serious and how disturbing some of the subjects are. Which character were you most able to identify with or connect with? You know what? And I couldn't answer that ahead of time. And I was trying to watch the film going, okay, who do I identify with? And there are times when I identify really, really well with Mills. And there are sometimes I identify really, really well with Somerset. But eventually it was more Somerset because I'm very exacting. Like I've said before, I used to be OCD, so I'm very exacting and very methodical and very and normally very calm and rational and very good at what I do. Best line or memorable quote. Okay, so here's the hard one. Best line or memorable quote. Okay, the most memorable quote. Everybody knows what's in the box. Tell me what's in the box. Everybody knows that, okay? Everybody who knows this movie knows that. And the funny thing is, on the poster, I'm not going to point to it right there. On the poster, it's the box. The picture is the box, and the box says 7, and it has dripping blood, blah, blah, blah. That's what the picture is on the poster when you scratch it, and you see the picture underneath. That's what it is. So everybody remembers that line. Of course, that is one of the most memorable lines of the movie. Do I think it's the best line? No. Every time I think of this movie, there is one line I think of, and it is the most random fucking line in the world. I swear, and most people probably wouldn't even remember it, but it cracks me up. It's perfect. It's that point where I think it's the first time. It's after the first two. I think it's after the first two murder scenes. So after gluttony and greed, and Somerset is briefing his captain, played by Arlie Ermy, and Mills is there too. So he's briefing them about this, telling them that this is going to go on, this is going to continue. And Arlie Ermy is not. They're not in his office. They're out among the desks, and Arlie Ermy is listening to him, sitting next to this desk, and the phone keeps ringing, and he picks it up, and my favorite line is Arlie Ermy says, "This not even my desk," and he hangs up. Fucking Arlie Ermy is awesome, and just that it just cracks me up every time, because it's ringing and ringing and ringing, and he just picks it up and says, "This not even my desk," and hangs up. I love it. It has nothing to do with the movie, but it's hilarious. Were you surprised by the ending? What would you do differently? I was absolutely shocked by the ending of this one. When I saw it, at a certain point, it becomes inevitable, because you're following the story. Of course you're following the story. You're watching it. But at a certain point, it becomes inevitable. You know it's going to happen. You know Mills is going to shoot him, but that doesn't mean it's still not a huge shock when he does. And it really was, for me, absolutely, really a huge shock. What is the religion featured? How familiar are you with this religion, Christianity / Catholicism? I at one point in my life, I used to identify as a Christian. I am technically part of the United Church of Christ. The thing is, no religion on earth, in my opinion, no religion on earth has everything right. It's impossible. It's impossible to have everything right. If you did have everything right, you would be walking around like Jesus Christ and making miracles happen. Okay, so I don't believe any religion on earth has got it right. And unfortunately, there are so many religions that have gone so extreme, like this shows, that has so many people who have taken it wrong or used it for their purposes negatively. I mean, the Crusades are like, there's so many times when Christianity and other religions have been taken to the extreme, and people do the wrong things. Absolutely. And so now I don't identify with a religion, because religion is a man-made structure, and man is fallible. And I don't believe in religion anymore. That does not mean I don't believe in God. I don't believe in Jesus Christ. I don't talk to God. It means I don't believe in religious structure. Not anymore. Not at all. There are so many things you got wrong. So many things you got wrong. You cannot tell me that gay people are going to hell. No. So the people who say that, you're absolutely ridiculous. You're absolutely wrong. You cannot tell me that this religion is not for certain people. Absolutely wrong. That is not what Jesus Christ taught. And so religion is not, I mean, I could go off on a huge tangent. I'm not gonna. But this movie, okay, the next question is, was the religion represented well, or do you feel it was embellished or to create a more entertaining story? So the whole point of this movie is that Jonathan Doe takes this religion to such extreme and believes that God, like Manson, like God is telling him to do this. And the truth is, you have justified what you want to do, what you feel is right. You have justified it by using a religion and just making the religion look bad. Making it look bad. And so that's the whole point of this movie. To a huge degree, that's the point of this movie. That's why I bring it up. Last question. Anything else you'd like to say? I love it. Spoiler alert, I love it when the bad guy wins. Okay, yes, Jonathan Doe gets killed at the end, but he still wins. And I love the movies that bad guys win. Why? Because it's so a departure from the normative. Because Hollywood is all about the quote-unquote Hollywood ending and making everything, right as rain or pretty in roses and blah, 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 blah. Let's not make this review too long, but I love it when the bad guy wins. There are plenty of movies that I own that the bad guy wins, and I love it, and I'm not about to give a 1,000 spoilers away and name any of them. We're talking about Se7en. Okay, the very last thing at the bottom here, it says, the chariot race in Ben-Hur, 1959, took a year of prep and 5 weeks spread over 3 months to film. Oh, I guess Ben-Hur was, Ben-Hur was based on a religion. I don't know if the story had much to do with the religion, but it was, I guess, based on a religion. Okay, so challenge number 49, based around a religion. And I did not mark off the little based around a religion, and I did it on 9/8/2023. Okay, so let's move on to the notes. I made a lot of notes, so let's see if we can get through these quick. I love that throughout the film they show Somerset in his house, how he lives, how he is so fastidious in the opening scene, in the very beginning scene, and everything is so precise and clean and order and structured. And I love how it changes as the film progresses. So I appreciate and the stark contrast of like Mills and how he lives. But I get into that later. But I like that they showed that because it gets you a little more information about who these people are. And then right after they show that opening scene where he's getting ready and he goes to work, he goes to that first crime scene, which has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. It's a separate, standalone crime. Did the kid see it? He asks. Did the kid see it? And the guy gets upset. What is it with you? We're going to be so glad when we get rid of you, Somerset. What is it with these questions? Did the kid see it? The fuck does it matter? So that he's dead. The wife killed him. The rest of it has nothing to do with us. It shows you right away what he complains about later on, about apathy. He complains about later on in the bar to Mills. And the reason why, the quote-unquote reason why he's getting out of this or leaving or whatever is because apathy has become a virtue. And people don't give a shit anymore. His heart is in the right place. Did the kid see it? He wants to know, is this kid traumatized? Did he see it? Does he need therapy? He's concerned about a future generation. He's not necessarily concerned about the dead person or the wife. That's already figured out. That's already done. It'd be great if we didn't start out by kicking each other in the balls. That is not the best way to start a partnership. And I love that they start that's like the first scene that they have together when he talks to him outside that first crime scene is I want you to look, I want you to listen. I've been doing this for a long time. Yes, but not here. Do me the courtesy of remembering that over the next 7 days. I love that their relationship starts off so conflicting, but it gives you a sense of these two people are completely different, which I really, really appreciate and really like. And where are we? I think I put this note later. I don't think it ever says, and I tried to pay real close attention to all the newspapers, to his badge, to the cars, the printing on the cars, every little thing I could. I tried to pay really close attention. They never say what city we're in. It's raining constantly, so I'm like, they're not trying to make it feel like LA, I don't think. Although some of the buildings and some of the places look like LA. And then later on when they go to Mills's house, there's an elevated train that goes by and rocks the house, which I have notes for. And LA doesn't have an elevated. So Chicago does, New York does. They never say, and I'm wondering if they're just trying to mix all kinds of things together. And if that's true, they did a damn good job. Whoever the cinematographer was did a damn good job of making this look like it could have been just about any city. Except for, like I said, the constant rain. It's like, I don't think that... Although this year we had a ton of rain. So, depending on the year, it could have been. The opening scenes are fucking amazing. Not scene, credits. The opening credits are blow my mind amazing. There are very few movies that the opening credits just are fantastic, and this is one of the best examples I can think of. The Nine Inch Nails song, stripped of all the lyrics, and it's a little slower paced. It's not the same pace as the song, and I think they add some stuff to it. But the Nine Inch Nails song, that's so recognizable. I don't remember the title of the song because it's been so long since when I was younger, I had that album and I liked that album, and I can't remember the name of that song, but such a great way to start off, and the edgy and the edgy titles and what you see him flipping through the pages and all the everything. I can't even go into it. It's so fucking amazing. This is one of the very few opening credit scenes that is just blows my mind. I talked about the opening scenes for Snatch. That was wonderful. The opening scene for Watchmen is brilliant. You know, there are so many. There are very few films where the opening credits are fantastic, and this absolutely, takes the cake. It's just beautiful. I already said that. Polar opposite of Mills. I love that polar opposite of Mills and Somerset, and they're thrown together. It's almost like The Odd Couple, but in a very serious situation, but I love it. And they both do such a great job at staying in their lane of personality. Two great actors, two fantastic actors, and in such great roles. Gluttony was so shocking that here we are. Okay, if the opening credits were not enough to get you to go, this is very serious and it's going to be edgy. If that wasn't enough to drive it home, that first victim scene, Gluttony, is so shocking and dark and brooding and serious and with his hands tied and him at the table and this is serious. If the opening titles weren't enough, this first victim is just like, holy shit. Here's the world we're in. No holding back. We're going to show everything. And I love that gritty opening scene. What was it? Fucking vomit. Was there any blood in it? I don't know. Feel free to look or help yourself. That stark contrast between the two. Like I said, they both do such a great job at staying in their lane and accentuating their character so well, or sticking so well to their character that we as the audience get they are completely different. And I love that. These characters are great. I already did that. I already said that. Oh, good. Okay. Debrief with the captain. So that first debrief with the captain after Gluttony. I'm sorry, I fucked up. Okay. We don't know it's Gluttony. Okay, that is the first murder scene with the fat guy, yes. But we don't know it's Gluttony until later. Okay? So that debrief of that murder scene that they go to with the fat guy, and they talk to Arlie Ermey's character. Oh goodness, what the hell is his name? Okay, what's the character's name? I love Arlie Ermey. It just says police captain. Okay, so they never gave him a name. Okay, that's fine. They go to talk to him and debrief him. This is the first time we realize and they drive it home. It's subtle that Somerset is very fucking good at his job. Very fucking good. He's better than either one of them in the room. And we get it because of how he picks up on the little things and he understands what this is. It's bigger, even though he doesn't have the clues yet that point to this is bigger than you realize. He gets, just by the severity of the situation and how it's done, that this is just beginning, and he already knows this. Brilliant. And again, Morgan Freeman is so great at this character that, you know, they took this is what got him, you know, Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider. Oh, Kiss the Girls. Fuck. Want to talk about one of the biggest fucking mistakes ever, decisions ever made, the worst decision ever made for a film that literally ruins the entire movie. Kiss the Girls. Ugh! Maybe one of these days I'll talk about it. Right now, it's not the time to get into it. I loved that movie so much until I realized the mistake that they made, or the choice that they made, that ruined the entire thing. And I literally cannot watch that movie anymore, ever again. It's just... okay, moving on. But his character, Morgan Freeman, did such a great fucking job in Se7en that they took that... They said, this is the guy we want for this captain, and Kiss the Girls and Along Came the Spider, because it's the same guy. It's the same... I can't remember the guy's name. It's the same detective. And Alex Cross. Boom, it hit. Okay, so Alex Cross. They saw Se7en and said, that's Alex Cross. And so they got Morgan Freeman, you know. Such a great job. Greed victim. Oh, so here's an interesting little note. As the audience, because in that meeting, in that debrief with the captain says, I'm putting Mills on something else. You're stuck cleaning up the fat man. So he's separated the two guys now. Okay, they started off together. They're not working well together. Let's separate them. That's fine. So Mills goes to the greed victim scene. He walks in. As soon as we see greed written on the ground, we as the audience automatically know this is connected. Absolutely, this is connected. It's connected. But why? How do we know that when we haven't seen Gluttony yet? Is it just because this is all part of the same movie and we already know that? Or has the writing subjectively said, because Somerset has said this is just beginning, and then we get something serious that with greed on the ground, this is not something that's random, this is something purposeful, and we get that they're connected. Either way, it's such brilliant writing, such great writing, because right away we're like, oh, these are connected, and it's very well done. I love the way Somerset is typing. Watch where he's like what I call hunt and peck, and he's like with each forefinger, and he's like, and then he looks up, and then type, and then he looks up, and then I love it. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm one of those people who can type like 80 or 70 words or something like that per minute. Or maybe more. I don't know. I haven't been tested, but I am very, very fast on it. When I was in school, I went to a private school for a couple of years, a Christian school, and I remember my teacher would come around and we would be doing typing tests, set up typing tests on the screen, and he would come by with a sheet of paper and put it over the keyboard, over our fingers, so we couldn't see anything. So we had to know where the keys were. And so I guess I learned at such an early age, and nowadays even more so. You know, we're talking about when I was in junior high, that was the early 90s, And now we're talking about nowadays when everything is computer. I'm sure, like just the look of him hunting pick is just hilarious. It also shows, that he's older. He's of that older mindset, and he's retire. He wants to retire. Oh, the accidental fine. Okay, again. When you think of great opening credits, there are very few movies you can think of that, the opening credits were amazing. Here's another thing. It's so hard to get an accidental find, especially in a murder, in a mystery or police movie. It's so hard to get it to look real and authentic and like this was an accident. A lot of times it's like, oh, of course he sees that, oh, oops, I happened to come upon that. It looks so forced that a lot of times it feels like the director is just like, okay, it's accidental and there's no way to do this really well, so just do it and we'll move on. Okay, there are two movies I can think of that do it really fucking well. This is one where he does a great job, and it's not just it probably was the director's choice because I doubt it was written, but it's also Morgan Freeman's acting. When he looks in the fridge and he's bent over and he's looking in the fridge and he goes to close it, and the way he looks down, disappointed. He's disappointed that there's nothing in here that is any kind of clue, and he's slightly disappointed. And as he's shutting it, he's moving his head down and he looks to the ground. And with the light still on, because he hasn't shut the fridge, it shines on those little strips, cutaway strips. And then he's like, oh, okay. So this accidental find was a really fantastic one. Again, not just because Morgan Freeman's acting, but that's a huge part of it. The other one I can think of is Jake Gyllenhaal in Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners, which I will review at some point because it's fucking amazing. One great movie. Powerful, wonderful. I love Denis Villeneuve, and he does that, in my opinion, is the best ever in film, in any film I've ever seen. The best accidental evidence find, and I believe it like 1,000%. It's wonderfully done. Anyway, moving on. Finding Gluttony, and this is just the beginning. Here's where we find Gluttony behind the fridge, and we're like, now we know this. We already kind of knew, yeah, this is definitely connected, but now there's a structure, so it's not just greed, it's now gluttony. Now we get 7. We get the 7 deadly sins. I love it. I love that Mills gets the Somerset takes there's this whole beautiful scene of Somerset making all these notes of things for Mills to read and research that he believes will be part of this, because he's retiring in 6 days now, or 5 days now, or whatever it is. And he's making all these notes for Mills to go through to figure out and to help him with this case. And and what does Mills do? Of course, perfect to his character, he gets somebody to buy him the Cliff's Notes version of everything he was supposed to read. I love it. Perfect for the character. Great staying in character. And that was either writing choice or director choice, but that was brilliant. The Cliff Notes. Oh, that was so cute. So when he goes to dinner, he gets invited to dinner by Gwyneth Paltrow's character, Tracy. She invites him to dinner, and then she's like, he's told me a lot about you, except for your first name. Oh, it's William. William, I'd like you to meet David. David, this is William. That's so cute. I never would have thought to do that, and it's such a cute little scene. It was nice. And totally unexpected with how serious the film has been up until now. This dinner is so out of what I would have expected. we're in such a serious mode that all of a sudden we bring this very heartwarming, very personable dinner between the two of them, and it's so sweet, talking about, this is my high school sweetheart, and he was the sweetest man I ever met. What was it? I knew on our first date this is the man I was going to marry. He's the funniest man I ever met. It was very sweet. It was very nice. And then, like I said before, I love that line. That's another line I always think of when I think of this movie. A soothing, relaxing, vibrating home. And then he laughs. Because the elevator went by and the whole place. It's so great. Such a great line. That is another line. Totally unrelated to the subject matter, but such a great line in this movie. And again, so talking about keeping within character, so each one of them are done very, very well. The metronome in Somerset's house, the throwing the knife at the target, the dart target. There are certain things that Somerset does that are so wonderfully Somerset. The character that they have really committed to. But also Mills, the Cliff's Notes was one of them. That was just like, this is so perfectly that character, that Mills character. But here comes the second one that I love. When Tracy has gone to bed and they continue to talk about the case, and they're working on the case together, and he says, "Do you want a beer?" And he said, "No, wine, please." And he takes a drinking glass and he fills it with wine. It goes to show he has absolutely he wine is a foreign concept to him. Absolutely. He's a beer guy, probably even, a whiskey or a bourbon guy. He is not the kind of guy who knows that you put what kind of glass you put wine in or how much you give to somebody. He literally filled up a drinking glass full of, a water drinking glass or whatever, full of wine. And I love the way Somerset looks at it when he picks it up. When he finally notices it and picks it up, and he's like, "What the fuck is this?" It's just one of those beautiful, perfect in character, little nuances. And it is important. It is in a very serious film like this, and even in a lot of horror films, it's very important to not stay in that very serious mode for too long. You got to kind of break it up with a little something. Maybe not all out comedy, but some little chuckle, some little something that breaks that up. Now, some films don't do it, but for the most part, it relieves the audience. It relieves that sense of tension for a little bit. I mean, your emotions are on overload and you're tense and blah, blah, blah. It relieves that a little bit. And little things like this, the Cliff Notes and the wine, do that. Do that brilliantly. This in-depth look at the case, it gets me hooked now. Now I'm hooked on the case. It's not just about what's going on, but when he really starts talking about it, when they start talking about it at that dinner, it really hooks me. I'm hooked on it. He didn't paint the fucking thing. The fact that Mills more or less gives up. There's nothing here for us to find. And Somerset does not give up. It, again, brilliantly, the two characters. Like I already said before, Somerset is really fucking good at his job. And this just shows he's patient. Check everything. Don't give up. There is something here. There has to be. There has to be something here. And he finds it. He paints the... He finds the fingerprints on the wall. So again, brilliantly the two characters. I love that Mills basically gives up. He's just fucking with us, and he's like, no, there's got to be something. There's got to be something. Looking, cutting the thing off the back, and then eventually finding the fingerprints. Oh, as much as okay, so up until this point, I love Somerset. Somerset is such a great character. Like I said, I identify with him more than anybody else, and I'm really loving him and his character, and wondering why is he retiring. I don't understand. He must have his own reasons. That's fine, but after they give the fingerprints over and the guy's running and then he says it's going to take a long time, and they have that scene where they're sitting out there before they fall asleep on the couch, and he talks about, what do you think he doesn't Somerset does not believe they're actually going to find this person. What do you think we're doing? And he gives that whole speech about picking up diamonds on a deserted island, saving them in case we get rescued. It's sad to finally realize that Somerset has given up. He may not have given up on the case like Mills did in that early scene, like, there's nothing here for us, why are we even looking? He hasn't given up on the mechanics of the job, because he gets that the mechanics of the job, you have to be patient and methodical and check everything. But he has given up to a larger degree. He does not believe that even though the mechanics of the job get him information, he does not believe that information will ever be worth anything, will ever get them anywhere. We're not going to catch this guy. I think he's had too many cases, like he says in the beginning. Those cases were taken closest to conclusion as humanly possible. I think he's had too many cases that didn't work out, or situations happen that are unexplainable, that he's given up to a large degree. And that's where I finally go, oh man, like, I really like this character, and now I get that he has given up to a larger degree. And that's where you get it. John C. McGintley. Oh my God! That's it, right? I'm not saying that wrong. I know John C. McGintley. I've seen him in plenty of other things. I don't see him on the list. Anyway, it's got to be John C. McGintley. I'm going to look it up so I'm not screwing this up, but I can almost tell you, absolutely. It's John C. McGintley. It's John C. Reilly and John C. McGintley. And this one, in this movie, is John C. McGintley, right? Yes, McGintley. John C. McGintley. This role, he is such a good actor. I've seen some great stuff that he's done. I love him in the remake of Get Carter with Sylvester Stallone. He's so wonderful in that movie. But this role is so small for him, and I'm like, oh, it's sad to see such a great talent wasted. And I guess maybe this was early in his career, and they just kind of threw something at him, Oh, well, let's not go off on too much of a tangent. I still have pages of notes, but I love him, and I thought this was just too small of a role for him because he's so good. He's so good. SWAT before dicks. So when they go to that, they get the fingerprints. It comes through, and they go to that guy's house, Victor's house, Victor Benazet. Oh, I can't remember the guy's name. But they go to his house. SWAT before dicks, like they're gonna break in. And you hear they love this. You hear Somerset. They love this, but you can clearly see Morgan Freeman's mouth says they love this shit, and they dubbed out shit, or didn't record it in ADR. I don't know. Either way, you can clearly see Somerset's mouth say they love this shit, but that is not what you hear. I caught that. I thought it was interesting. To me, I don't know. Okay, so everybody has their point where, okay, certain things bother them, certain things don't bother them. Some people have no problem with spiders, some people do, blah, blah, blah. Indiana Jones has that problem with snakes. I get it. So I'm sure when people watch this, they have their own idea of what the most disturbing part of it is. I talked before about American History X and that scene that absolutely bothers some people, didn't necessarily bother me, and how I was shocked by Reservoir Dogs to where I couldn't watch it the scene in Reservoir Dogs. Okay, so everybody probably has their own idea of what crime or what scene in this film might bother them. For me, it's the sloth victim was the most disturbing. And I think a lot of it has to do with he has been torturing this guy for a year. This guy has been bound to the bed and been tortured for years and probably drugged and did he deserve that? I don't think anybody deserves that. I don't think anybody, I don't care what you've done wrong. I think, in my opinion, there are certain people who have done certain things that they no longer deserve to be among us. They have lost their right to be among us, in my opinion. Okay? That does not mean you torture them for a year. That's disturbing. And the fact that this guy was still alive, again, the most disturbing victim for me was the sloth victim. Of all of them. Okay. Oh, and then at that scene, when he gets mad, Mills, well, I got your picture, man. I got your picture. We find out later that's, John Doe. I got your picture, Mills, M-I-L-L-S, fuck off. Okay, it's funny to a degree, but then it's also a brilliant foreshadow. This is the first time we see a brilliant foreshadow of wrath. Become wrath, like he says at the end. So this is a brilliant foreshadow. The first time we really see Mills's anger getting control. It's impressive to see a man feeding off his emotions, like Somerset says. So this is absolutely a foreshadow of the end. And a brilliantly done one. Not all foreshadows are great. This one was very, very well done. Oh, yeah. This blows my mind. When Tracy and Somerset go to breakfast, and she tells him the whole, it's hard living here, and then eventually she tells him she's pregnant, and he gives her the, we got pregnant once, and and we aborted it, blah, blah, blah. It's a whole other fucking level to this movie. I mean, when you think that they've thrown so many curveballs at you, here comes a whole other level to this movie. And we get that later on it's important that she's pregnant, but wow. That scene is so well done. It's such a shock. And the two Gwyneth Paltrow and Morgan Freeman are just so great, so brilliant. Every little thing that they do in this scene, even her reactions as Morgan Freeman is talking, it's just, you got two great actors, Brad Pitt is fantastic in this movie. But in this scene, you got two great actors and such a well-written script and this scene. And it's just, I love this scene. It's so good. Like I said, it adds a whole other level to this. And when he says, you spoil that kid every chance. Oh my God. You feel her reaction. As the audience, you absolutely feel her reaction. She does such a great job. The line is done so well and delivered so well. And then her reaction is so great. You feel it. I think that scene, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where like some of the best acting in movies or the best scene in a movie, blah, blah. That scene, I don't know why that is not singled out as such an amazing scene, because it absolutely is. Absolutely. After that. Long is the way and hard that out of hell leads up to light. You've seen the movie, so I don't have to show you my note, but I wrote it exactly how he had it on the thing. I love that they have made, again, the writing is done so well, and they've committed to these characters so well. It's not just the writing. The Cliff's Notes is a part of this character, Mills, the whine, how he delivers it to him, these things, the metronome that eventually he breaks, the switchblade knife that he throws at the dart. These characters are fleshed out so well that little things like that are so important, and this note is so perfectly Jonathan Doe, who does not have an identity to himself and so does not have a typical handwriting style. And so the fact that this letter, this note, he's not trying to hide who he is by hiding his writing or his writing style. He literally has no writing style and will write like that. I love it. I think that's brilliant. That note is brilliant. It's a very, it is in keeping with Jonathan Doe's character. Wonderful. Just because the fucker's got a library card doesn't make him Yoda. He has such great, like, he rubbing himself in peanut butter. Ooh, he has such great ridiculous fucking lines, and for the most part they are absurd. And I love that this one absurd line or saying that he has, you know, just because the fucker's got a library card doesn't make him Yoda, finally yields a result. Because most of his shit is just stupid banter, but this one finally, Mills goes, you can see the light go off and go, okay, so, brilliant. I love it that finally his ridiculousness yields a positive result. It's great. He is smart. Mills, you get that he is smart. He's just not on the same level as Somerset. He's a great detective, Mills is, but Somerset is a whole other level. You do the talking. Put that silver tongue of yours to work. When they go to knock on his door and then John Doe shoots at him, and that whole chase scene. I don't know if you know this or not, and a lot of you probably do. Brad Pitt actually hurt himself on the stunt coming down the stairs. He actually hurt himself, and they didn't want to delay filming, so they wrote it into the script, and that's why they show him hurting his arm or breaking his arm, and then he has that faux cast or whatever, the sprain on his hand the rest of the film. He actually hurt himself in one of the stunts. Hurt his wrist or his elbow. I can't remember if it was his wrist or his elbow, but actually hurt himself, and so they wrote it into the script. Because they couldn't delay. Oh, God. Okay. When they go back to his apartment after that whole chase scene, they go back to his apartment, and he's like, we need a reason to knock on this door. You can't knock this door down. We need a reason to knock on this door. The fucking guy will walk. That is just a great example of justice in America does not fucking work. Our justice system absolutely does not work. The fact that you know this guy is fucking guilty and everything in his apartment points to the fact that he is fucking guilty of these crimes, and one tiny technicality of how you found him will set him free. Bullshit. Is such bullshit. And the funny thing is, I just saw a documentary the other night about John DuPont and Foxcatcher. John DuPont was clearly fucking insane. And it was, and they had evidence of his insanity for a long time. His erratic behavior. And then when he shoots, anyway, when he goes to prison and his lawyers are pleading not guilty by reason of insanity, technically he was fucking insane. Absolutely. So technically, with the way our justice system was, he would have gotten off. Thank God that the jury saw past that and said this man should not be free and returned a verdict of guilty. But in this case, it wouldn't have been up to the jury. It would have been declared a mistrial if they would have gone into his apartment and had no reason. So it's just a clear example of how the justice system in the United States does not fucking work. It's so broken. There are so many broken pieces. There are things that they get right, absolutely. There are things that are right, but then there are so many things that are that it's just so broken. Anyway, his apartment is so fucking fucked up and amazing at the same time. Everything in the apartment, it's all red, and the grittiness of it, and just the red and black and the religious symbols and the boxes that have all the evidence in it, and the fact that he has his own darkroom. Every little thing about this apartment is amazing. They did such a great job. Again, I like the looks into Somerset's apartment and then Mills's apartment, and now we see John Doe's apartment, and it's brilliant. I didn't know Kevin Spacey well enough at the time. Some people might have because they saw him on TV. He was in a TV show for a long time. I didn't know him well enough to know that when he called on the phone that it was him. I didn't know his voice. Nowadays, I absolutely know him well enough, and I know his voice well enough to where I watch it nowadays, and I'm like, oh, that's clearly him on the phone. But still, we're not supposed to know who it is. Obviously. The notebook that Somerset reads from, actually, a man came up to me on the subway today, and that is the same notebook that he sits and reads from. It's the same notebook that he opens when they first start going through, before the phone call. When they're going through the apartment and he finds that room and he opens a notebook and he randomly opens a notebook and he flips through the pages, you can see on there, that is the same notebook he reads from. I just noticed that this time and thought I would say that. The lust murder scene. I'm trying to go through these quick because I'm close to an hour. The lust murder scene. Are there really places like this? Am I just naive? Are there really like sex places where you can just rent a room and like do whatever? I was shocked by that. Maybe there are places like that. I have no idea. If they are, I'm completely naive to it. Not like that's my kind of thing anyway, but I thought it was interesting. Michael Massey. Again, another actor that I'm just like, he's so good. No, this is not a small role. He actually has a role. He has some emotion. He has some things to do. I just think he's an underrated actor. He's such a great actor, and he's underrated. I loved him in 24. He did a great job. He had a very extensive part in the first season. I like him a lot, and I just wanted to mention that. Love costs. Takes effort. That conversation they have, I talked about this before, I mentioned it before, that conversation they have that finally, like, why are you giving up? Here is the turning point between Mills and Somerset. Up until this point, Mills is a goof off. We get that he's smart, he can do his job, but he's not great. We're not in a line with him. We're not loving him. Why? Because he's never going to solve this case. Okay? Somerset, we believe, might solve this case, but it's sad to see that one scene where he says picking up diamonds on desert island. We've gotten to the point where I can't believe he's given up. To a large degree, he's given up. Here's the turning point where, wow, now Mills believes in humanity. He believes that people are worth saving and giving a chance. And Somerset has more or less given up. And here's the point where we as the audience, at least me, have that shift in, I'm more on Mills's side. I believe that we're worth it. I believe that there are great people in this world. You know? I love that scene because I feel a great turning point in the two characters. I finally get that they are both equally valuable as where for half the movie I've kind of written off Mills because he's just a goofball. I was shocked when John Doe turns himself in. I was like, what the fuck? With all the blood all over him and he's screaming, da, 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 and the fact that Kevin Spacey was bald. You know, the whole scene was just a huge shock. And I'm like, what is going on? I remember thinking that when I first saw it, just like shocked by the fact that he turned himself in. He's John Doe by choice. The first time you and I are in total agreement. I love that we've had this turning point in Mills and Somerset, and now Somerset. So not only we as the audience have had that turning point, Somerset begins to realize that. I think he begins to realize that Mills is kind of who he was when he first started this job. He kind of reminds him of why he did this job in the beginning, why he started doing this job. And so finally, he's not writing off Mills anymore either. And this proves it, where he says for once you and I are in total agreement. So he's starting to give Mills credit, and I like that. It's a shift in the characters too. I like that. This whole scene in the car when they're riding there. Oh my God. I don't know if Brad Pitt has ever won an Academy Award. I think there are certain things he deserves it for. Morgan Freeman, absolutely, certainly, 100,000%, and Kevin Spacey as well. Okay, I'm not talking about these guys personally or their personal lives or anything. I'm talking about as actors. These guys are fucking amazing, and to have all three of them in a scene like this, committed to such brilliantly written characters, and to have that, it's just wow. The whole car ride is just amazing. Amazing. You're a movie of the week. You're a t-shirt at best. Such great. When they finally get to John Doe, I love that we get that John Doe is such a cool-headed customer. And then he finally gets to innocent. Only in a world this shitty is that supposed to be funny? Only in a world this shitty could you say that these people were innocent and keep a straight face. That whole monologue he has just goes to show how insane, to what insane lengths people can take certain religions and just destroy lives. Destroy what the religion was meant for, what the religion was started for, why it was structured that way, and destroy lives by your insane interpretation of what religion what religion was based on and wants from you. Wow. But whoa, such a great when they get out of the car and they're looking around, he says, "What do you have?" "Dead dog." "I didn't do that." I don't know whether to laugh or not. Part of me wants to laugh, and part of me's like, this is just too serious to laugh. I don't know if we needed that there. I don't know. You know how I said you got to break up the tension? But I don't know if I agree with that part or not, because sometimes I don't know whether I'm supposed to laugh at that or not. Oh, I noticed this time. When he asked, "What time is it?" Why do you care? Because I want to know. And he tells him it's 7:01. And I thought to myself, what a waste of $500. You paid somebody $500 to make sure you were at a certain place at a certain time, 7 o'clock. Here it is, 7:01. There's no car in sight. You've wasted $500 fucking dollars to make sure this guy was here and he's late. Now I have to waste time until the guy fucking gets here. How long do I have to waste time? I don't know. So let me just walk out into the middle. That's why he says it's close and he starts walking. It's because he literally has to waste time because they are there at the right time, and the guy he paid $500 to bring this box is late. Great. And he doesn't know if it's going to be 2 minutes late or 10 minutes late or an hour late. So he just has to waste time and hopefully the guy fucking shows up. I paid $500 for this. Come on, guy. I noticed that this time. It had an impact on me this time. I was like, whoa, waste of fucking time. This end scene, God. The camera work is done really, really well. The writing, I love the shots up and then out, and then a lot of the shots where there's nothing there except like everything is there's no real scenery. I love the location they pick because there's no real scenery, and so a lot of the shots are just one person, and everything else is kind of black. Almost nothing there. Watch it again. It's really well done. The camera work is really well done. How he gets him on his knees and where they put the camera and what angles they show and how close. Oh my God, the close-ups of Jonathan Doe when he's saying what he needs to say and his very serious face and it's very, oh my God, the lighting, the shadows, everything. This last scene is so well done, so great. It's and what an ending. The emotion, the attention. I get that sometimes people make fun of the Brad Pitt. Oh God. But just if you are in his, the more I watch it, the more I feel like this is not funny. This is not exaggerated. He is feeling that, and it's perfect for Mills's character to react this way. And then when they show that one quick picture of Gwyneth Paltrow's face, and that that's it, it's done, and then he shoots him and you're just like, oh my God, what the fuck. If you shoot him he will win, and he's just like, what, no way, and then he can't help it. It's almost involuntary. It's almost absolutely involuntary. The definition of temporary insanity, almost involuntary. He shoots him. When he says at the end, when Somerset says at the end, I'll be around. Whatever he needs, I'll be around. I wonder if that means he's not retiring. I feel like that means he's not retiring. I'll be around if he needs me, if anybody needs. I have that. I just have that feeling and that hope he's not really retiring. Ernest Hemingway once wrote, "Earth is a fine place and worth fighting for." I agree with the second part. Such a great way to end the film. I have my opinions about what are some really great ending lines, and what is my favorite. This is not necessarily my favorite ending line to a film, but it is right up. It's up there. It's a great line to end the film on. And the reverse credits. I mean, in keeping with the craziness of the film, the reverse credits. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Okay, so that's my review of Se7en. I love it. I 5-star movie for me. I know not everybody probably thinks the same, but wow, amazing. Thanks a lot for listening or watching or whatever you do, however you listen or watch. And we'll get you another one in a week or less. So thanks a lot. Talk to you later.